we are living our life.
Mm-hmm.
We're living this is our life.
Mm-hmm.
We're not entertainers, right? Mm-hmm. This is a part of what we're doing.
Because if everything's taking place in front of a camera, as we've, explored from so many different angles, it's hard to know what actually is real. Lesson 7, Managing Relationships with Production.
Even if you apply all the lessons you learned in the class, you will still have to navigate difficult situations with the production company. You're signing up to be on reality TV, which means you will be put in uncomfortable positions for the sake of entertainment. But you can still maintain clear boundaries.
Whenever your personal boundaries are violated by the production, you can confront them about it. But you must always remember to do it respectfully and tactfully. This way, you'll make sure the confrontation itself does not become fodder for the TV show and turn you into a villain. This is the most common scenario in which a show will choose to draw attention back to itself, when a cast member is outraged at the production and has an aggressive outburst that makes them look like a villain.
When is a moment where you can recall having a difficult interaction or exchange with production?
Totally. Yeah. So when we first moved into our new place of residence for a show, we were informed there was a security camera kind of in the corner that I was aware of, having watched previous seasons of the show, and I expected would be there. And when we got in, I saw the security camera. I noticed it. I immediately addressed them about it. This was when we're first moving into the apartment. And the producer informed me, oh, don't worry about it. The internet isn't up yet, so it's not, even though it's plugged in and it's bleeping green to suggest it's working, it's not streaming to our offices. We're not none of what it's receiving is going anywhere. So you have nothing to worry about. Production goes home. I have a friend come over who I want to talk to and hang out with. And, I'm not ready to, I don't want to, in this moment, be filmed in my place of residence in this particular moment. So I want to maintain my personal boundaries. I do trust what the producer said to me when she left, but I just want to be as safe as possible and not even have it as a potential concern, right? And just eliminate the possibility that it's working. So I unplug the security camera that's on our new living room. And I am talking to my friend, hanging out with my friend, having a good time, and I get a text from my producer 15 minutes later saying, hey, you should be aware that it is a violation of your contract to unplug your security camera. I sit there for a second. I'm like, okay. Either somebody messed up or somebody was straight up lying to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm riled up. I'm definitely very agitated in this moment. And I reach out. I respond back to her, and I say respectfully, I'm like, hey, you informed me when you left that this was not plugged in. Was this not the case? How do you know that I unplugged it? She responds, and, she's trying to kind of talk around it. And eventually I say hey, we need to meet about this. We need to talk about this. So I meet with, I set up a meeting with multiple producers, actually, my partner at the time. And we sit down, we specifically address that. And the first thing that I always do during these conversations, right? Because you're going to have to, it's a negotiation with a second party, right? Mm-hmm. And it's important, I say, hey, listen, I know you're here as a representative of this company. But I'm going to have to use the second person here. I'm going to have to say you. When I'm saying you, I'm not talking to you, the person who happens to have this job as the producer. I'm talking to you as the representative of this production company. I want you to know this. I'm not judging you. I'm placing none of this on you as a human being, right? You're just a part of this company, right? With which I am trying to negotiate in this moment. Making that very clear, trying to make it as clear as possible that I'm not none of this is personal. None of this is about the person, right? And we go into this conversation. It's a very long, 3 to 4 hour long conversation that we don't need to get too deeply into the nitty gritty.
It was that long?
Yeah, it was long. It was very long. But the important point here is that I sat down with them. I was as diplomatic as I possibly could be in trying to separate the person from the company. And in this moment, this was when my thorough reading and notation of the contract really came in the clutch. Because I was able to say, listen, and I can't go into details here about what those terms were, but I was able to say, listen, hey, here's this clause that says I am entitled to this. So if you're unable to give me what I want, I'm going to take advantage of this clause, which will give me relief from this problem, and also, unfortunately, make life a little more difficult for you. All the while making sure that I'm not raising my voice, that I'm friendly, that I continue to remind them yo, this isn't about you. This is not about you, the person. This is about the production company, the policy, and this overall operation, right? Yeah. So that for me was a very uncomfortable situation. I felt like my boundaries were violated, right? Because they told me that they weren't basically live streaming my life. When in fact they were. People were watching it, because otherwise how would they...
They know.
How would they, they knew. So I was able to say hey, this was a violation. And I was also able to use it as a segue to kind of establish what my very specific personal boundaries were moving forward in regards to that security camera. And by the time we left this very difficult negotiation, it was very difficult. All parties felt like we had reached a resolution, which I really appreciated, that we could do that we could have this hard conversation, there was certainly conflict, but we were able to walk out of it feeling, oddly enough, like we had kind of aligned more closely than we had before.
What was the resolution?
The resolution was very vague, which was interesting. The resolution was, okay, the production company basically told me, as long as we have what we need, you're good. So it was, I, from then on, would kind of have moments when I didn't feel comfortable having it plugged in. And so I wouldn't have it plugged in. And then I had moments when I felt fine having it plugged in. So I plugged it in.
Yeah. I was very clear on I'm not letting y'all in my life. I'm unplugging it. And there was no ramifications. There was no communication. And I wonder if it happened after your incident or before.
It happened mine happened extremely early. Mine happened as soon as we moved in.
Oh, okay. So probably after, because I was I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I need some relief. Like you're saying, I need some relief. I'm not going to be on camera all day.
Yeah.
If y'all want to see something, let me know what you want to see, and I'm turning the thing back off. It's not that big of a deal to me. Your life is not your own when you're on reality TV, right? And an interesting, but was probably one of the most exciting parts of my early experience on reality TV was during the honeymoon. I could sense, well, first off, me and my partner had met for a couple days and had very little time together that was like, felt like authentic and genuine time. I could tell that their experience on camera was not the most comfortable, that they didn't feel themselves. And I wanted to be able to just enjoy our experience, you know, and so without feeling pressured to have sex or tell each other we love each other or whatever. And so we were at a resort, remember? So we went off the resort and like went on an adventure of our own. And it was like such a like relaxing like time to be away from cameras, to be away from everybody else, to just be, you know, which felt very authentic to me and felt very authentic to us and who we are. And we get back to the resort and it's like full production companies there, like cameras, everything. And the main producer, like big head honcho, was like, y'all can't do that. It's not safe. We're responsible for you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, we aren't children. Like there's something were happening, you were liable. I'm like, I'm a grown ass man. Like, you're not gonna like if I made that choice, it's a choice I made. I'll communicate with you if I'm in danger, but like, nah, we're good, you know? But it's just a reminder of just like that's a thing that you have to navigate with them around like, yeah, I am supposed to work this amount of hours or this amount of time with you when I'm not on, it's not a call time. I'm not obligated to do anything you need me to do, you know? And that was something that I didn't think about beforehand, but was also like, oh yeah, you know what? They probably do think they have a right to what I'm doing at all moments. And so like the conflict wasn't big. Like they felt away for a minute. They don't feel any way now, you know? But it can feel really big in the moment. Navigating that
diplomatically while like maintaining a sense of integrity, right? Being able to say like, yo, here are my boundaries. Here's what I'm entitled to, and here's what you're entitled to, right? I mean, in your case, you know, I think it's amazing that you had the confidence to say like, I'm a grown man, like I can go where I want. You know, I think without having read the contract, right? Like I was like, I need to read this contract to know like what my rights are, you know?
I was like, nah, bro, I don't want to do this. Like, I was like, I don't want to do this, you know? I don't want to feel this way. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that my partner wasn't like, oh, are you sure we should do this? Like was like aligned with me and like, let's go. I don't want to do this either. We are living our life. We're living this is our life. We're not entertainers, right? This is a part of what we're doing. And like, if I'm going to, in our instance, if I'm going to value this person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life, I want to have valuable experiences with them. And if it means that I'm not on camera, then we're not on camera. If we want to have privacy, we want to have privacy. I think if they would have went with us off resort, they probably would have gotten some great content. Like it was like I think I probably saw pictures and videos on my phone, right? Like it was a really cool space. It was like we went to cenote and we were like swimming and jumping off things, and like there was some drama, you know. Like, how the hell did we get back to the resort? Like figuring all that out. But also it was like that was a really important moment in our relationship, you know. And if they had been a little bit more flexible and open with us around like what we wanted to do, they probably would have gotten great content, like, and seeing us in our genuine, authentic selves, which would have been actually more entertaining than what they produced, you know?
Yeah, so Miles, something I'd love to ask you about that we both experienced is how you handle situations where production is telling you to say something verbatim in an interview context.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So like a lot of times we'll do pickups and we'll say something and the audio may not have been as clear as it needed to be. So you say the exact words just so that they can use it in a better way. And sometimes they'll say things that are like, hey, I need you to say, I'm in love with so-and-so and this is we're so happy. And I'm like, I don't feel that way. I'm not saying that. Or that's like, that's not how I would say that. That's how I actually felt. And early on, I wasn't comfortable enough to say that that's how I felt. But then very quickly I realized, oh no, hold on. That's not even my voice, right? And so how can I say, and the way that I negotiated that was like, how can I say what you want or what you're wanting in a way that's authentic to me and what's actually my lived experience? And so communicating with your producers around like, hey, that doesn't even sound like something I would say. And allowing for that dialogue to feel organic to you makes you feel safe, but then also allows you to not get jammed into saying something that you didn't mean.
And there will be situations, or there could be situations in which you're going to be gaslit. And they're going to say like, no, you definitely said that. We have you recorded saying these exact words.
Yeah. And I'd be like, I never in life would say that. I never. Like, it just wouldn't come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I've never felt that, right? And so, like, how do you make sure that you're clear on, this is how I feel about it, I'm not doing that thing? Because they can't force you to say something you don't want to say.
No, they can't. They can't.
What are they going to do? Cut the show in the middle of it? We're not filming you anymore, right? They have a job to do.
It is in their best interest to reach a compromise with us. Always. Here are some quick tips for navigating difficult situations with the production company. When confronting producers or crew, always make sure to start by saying, when I use the word you, I am not speaking to the producer, the person. Rather, I am speaking to a representative of the production company. I'm holding nothing against you personally. I know that you're just doing your job here. When faced with difficult production situations, your familiarity with the contract will be most useful. Before having a sit-down or formal confrontation with representatives of the production, make sure you've reviewed any and all relevant clauses from the contract to see what kind of leverage you might have in your situation.
Here's an activity for you to try out. Imagine a scenario in which production tells you to do something that you're uncomfortable doing. Consider how you would diplomatically confront the person who is telling you to do it without making them feel attacked. Practice this form of diplomatic confrontation.
In the next lesson, we'll continue talking about production and give you some tips for interviewing that will help make sure that your words aren't used against you.